Hi guys, welcome back to a new video. I feel like a lot of times with unpopular opinion videos, people talk about opinions that are actually pretty popular and really just aren't that controversial. For the list I made, I tried to balance interesting takes and opinions with hopefully not offending people too much, but I also don't want to hold back too much because then that would be kind of boring. And it's really fine if you don't agree with me. These are my personal opinions. Fashion is subjective, and there's a beauty in disagreeing with one another because that's what makes fashion interesting, and that's what makes it a conversation, and that's why it continually changes. And I have quite a few topics that I made a list of to discuss with you guys. Some of these are my personal fashion hot takes, as well as some of your personal fashion hot takes, which I asked you guys about on Instagram and on YouTube. And I have to say, you guys have some really interesting opinions. With that all being said, let's get started. First opinion I have is a personal one, which is that black is not basic. It makes a statement. I love wearing black. I wear it all the time. Most of my clothes are black. Whenever I buy something new, I almost always buy it in black. I think black is actually very calculated and intentional, and people who purposely choose to wear black are saying something about themselves, such as, this is an intentional choice. I am purposely putting on a very flattering color, and it really elevates you, makes you look very sleek and well put together. Black is undeniably a staple in fashion. It symbolizes sophistication, authority, classiness. There's a reason why the top of the top designer brands continually use it in their collections, because it's always a chic, sleek color that you can always go back to that appeals to really everyone. Brands like Anne de Meulemeester, Rick Owens, Balenciaga, Maison Margiela, The Row, Helmut Lang, they all take black and they continually reinvent it and repurpose it and give it a new life and create new and interesting silhouettes that people continue to eat up, like me. People say that we've seen everything that there is to see in fashion by now, but I don't necessarily agree with that. I think black is a color that can continually be reinvented and given new life to, and it's always something that can be interesting and something that can be worn in different ways. Black is truly a color that is a canvas for brands to be creative without distraction. It is not basic. It always makes a statement. The next personal hot take I have is that quiet luxury is not boring. I think it's quite the opposite, actually. Pretty similar to how I feel about black. I think quiet luxury is extremely elevated and chic, and if worn and styled the right way, it looks absolutely amazing. I think some of my favorite quiet luxury looks I've seen are actually of celebrities walking down the street in paparazzi photos, such as Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, Kylie Jenner, and Hailey Bieber. The looks that some of these celebrities wear when out and about really exudes that subtle sophistication and ease and effortlessness that I think a lot of us wish that we could exude on a day-to-day basis. Quiet luxury is really intentional and powerful. Since the silhouettes themselves are so simple almost, there's a lot of focus on using high-quality materials and excellent craftsmanship because you don't have the easiness of just going back to overt branding logos or recognizable sort of design elements that a brand might have. I think what's really great about quiet luxury is that it's not a trend. It's timeless and transcends the state of our economy, the state of politics, the state of our world in general. It's something that we as society can always wear and enjoy. And when you're trying to create a sense of personal style, that's really what you want, is to have pieces that you can wear in your wardrobe for a lifetime. And that's what quiet luxury offers. It gives you effortlessness and timelessness. My next hot take is that silver jewelry will always look better than gold jewelry. I've been a long time wearer of both silver and gold jewelry. I actually used to own a lot of gold jewelry. I still own some pieces actually, but the majority of my jewelry has slowly over time changed to be predominantly silver. And a lot of that reason is because I think my style evolution over time has become a lot more neutral, monochrome, and simple and very edited. The colors I wear now are a lot more cool tone and simple, so silver is the color that most complements that. Silver just really conveys a sense of coolness and edginess and modernity for me, whereas gold is more polished and elegant and refined. It can certainly make a big statement just as much as silver can, but I personally just find silver more flattering, and honestly, I think it works on all skin tones. Compared to gold, I think gold looks most flattering on more warmer kind of skin tones and especially on people of color. But I think silver, on the other hand, is flattering on all skin tones. And I think it has a lot of longevity too. When you wear it when you're younger, you come off as very cool and edgy and modern. And when you're older and you're still wearing silver, you look very fresh and young and edgy too. It's always very heartbreaking when I find a jewelry piece I like, but it only comes in gold. I've even gone as far as to take a silver Sharpie to color the gold metal parts so that they can appear silver, which is very crafty and DIY of me, but you know what? Hell yeah. My next hot take is that chunky footwear instantly ruins an outfit. I think some people are definitely going to disagree with this. I know some people who love their chunky Doc Martens and Converse or those Fila sneakers, you know the ones I'm talking about. Honestly, I can't stand those. I did used to be a chunky footwear enjoyer, but I have since way long grown out of those kind of styles. I just think they look, to be quite honest with you, pretty juvenile and just very much a sign of being young and having fun. You just really don't see chunky footwear as much as you get more into fashion and designer and even vintage. I think chunky footwear is more a sign of modern times and especially of the 2000s. I do love a good heel. I love a good height. I'm always wearing heels, but I think platforms and chunky footwear is just very tacky. Another thing about them is that the proportions of having a bulkier foot, I think, really throws off the overall proportions of your outfit, especially if you're trying to go for a more sleek or minimal outfit. I think a chunky shoe kind of just ruins that overall look and aesthetic. I find that chunky footwear is just quite distracting and just really overwhelms the balance of a good outfit. My last personal fashion hot take is that patent and PU leather look pretty cheap, to be honest. I know that people who love animals will say, well, those are great alternatives to real leather. I'm very much an advocate and fan for vintage leather and sustainably sourced leather and ethically sourced leather. But with patent and PU leather, I think by creating these alternatives to real leather, it kind of backfired because a lot of them just look so cheap, especially when they come from fast fashion. When high-end brands use these kind of materials like Christian Louboutin or Versace, these brands are using more of like a premium fake leather. They have the access and the resources to, but for more casual everyday brands like H&M or Forever 21 or Aritzia, Zara, they're using fake leather that just looks very cheap and gimmicky and tacky. I think a lot of people also try to avoid PU and patent leather for that reason. It just doesn't look as good. I feel like brands should make more of an effort to find better alternatives to real leather if they want to use fake leather that really mimics the look of real leather and feels like real leather, because I think what's out there in the market and in stores and online at the moment just really doesn't cut it for me and I think a lot of other people. Now we have some of your personal fashion hot takes. The first one being that the low-rise trend needs to die. I disagree with this. I love low-rise. I've been a fan for quite a few years now. When I was younger, I really loved a good high-waisted pant and even mid-rise. A lot of the vintage jeans that I used to get were from my mom, and she had this one pair of high-rise Levi jeans that I remember wearing the hell out of them. But if there's anything that I love from 2000s fashion, and I really don't love very much about it, it's the low-rise jean. I think it's extremely flattering. I love how it kind of shows the hips and then it allows you to wear a full length tops. I love the look of a full-length top. I think there's a lot of really beautiful vintage and low-rise jeans that maybe people just haven't seen who don't like low-rise, but there's a lot of really nice designs out there that I think could appeal to a lot of people. And I really think that the low waistline looks really good on pretty much everyone. The next hot take you guys had was quite divisive. I had several people say different things about it, which is about tabbies and that they either look weird looking or that you find them cute. For me personally, I love tabbies. I own a pair. I got them like a year ago and I've been wearing them quite a lot. I think they're a more kind of edgy fashion girl type of vibe compared to the basic sort of ballerina shoe. I've always been aware of ballet flats, but ever since I got more into fashion and learned more about materials and design and the history of it, I've become more interested in tabbies, which is why I decided to invest in them because they were certainly expensive. The people that are wearing tabbies, they just get it. These are people who truly understand fashion. Sometimes you're going to be wearing pieces that not everybody's going to like or agree with, or even, you know, laugh at. I've seen a lot of people laugh at how tabbies look and make fun of them, but I think they are a design that challenges conventional beauty and aesthetics, and that's what makes fashion interesting and exciting. The next hot take you guys had is that bubble or balloon skirts are weird and ugly. I have to say I agree with this sometimes, even as someone who has worn them before. Looking back at some of the choices I've made with a bubble skirt, I'm kind of like cringing at it because I think it was quite a micro trend that a lot of brands hopped on, and it does look quite juvenile when I look back on it, and it almost looks a little bit silly, I suppose. It almost feels like what somebody would wear when they're just trying to get into fashion, or they're trying to figure out what's trendy and what they should wear. It's kind of like that feeling of playing dress up and you're like, ooh, a bubble skirt, that looks fun. A short bubble skirt like this one that I've worn before, I have to say is probably my least favorite version of this trend. I just think it's not very flattering when I look back on it. I really don't know what I was thinking. I think I just got super influenced by the trend like a lot of people. On the other hand, I do think that there have been some brands that have come out with really interesting kind of versions of balloon or bubble skirts that I actually think have a lot of wearability and even longevity. This dress from Paloma Wool I really love because it's a more elevated version of a bubble skirt, and I think it could be worn in different occasions. I love that it's so simple, but it has that playfulness of the volume at the bottom. There's also this dress from Peachy Den, which has a bubble skirt incorporated into it. I think it's really all about proportions and styling and silhouette. I think these are definitely styles that challenge people's notions that bubble skirts are ugly. The next hot take is that a lot of maximalist outfits are ugly. I have to say I honestly do agree with this. As someone who favors a more minimal silhouette, something more easy, chic, and elevated. I mean, I'm wearing all black today, so I rarely ever wear colors, and when I do, they're more subdued or sheer or washed out faded colors. And a lot of maximalist outfits have a lot of colors, so I personally don't like them, and I don't like to do too much with an outfit either. I do love layering, and I think layering is very cool and interesting, and you can have a lot of fun with it, and that's what we need sometimes in fashion, is to have fun and not take ourselves too seriously. But that doesn't mean that these outfits are necessarily appealing and for everyone. For people like me, most of the time I really don't like how maximalist outfits look, and I think a lot of people feel the same way, but that's okay. And the reason why I think this is okay is because I think a lot of times maximalists are not trying to look conventionally pretty or aesthetic or appealing to everyone. A lot of times they really just want to create more of a statement or start a conversation, or even of course just they're dressing for themselves, which is totally fine. Like I said before, fashion is subjective and you should always at the end of the day wear what you want to wear and what you feel good in. I have to say I respect people who are maximalists. I do think it takes a lot of courage to wear something that's out of the norm and different, because at the end of the day you're challenging other people to reconsider what's aesthetic and what's beautiful and what's in. Another fashion hot take is that crop tops aren't cute. I fully wholeheartedly agree with this sentiment. The times of where I would wear crop tops do come back to haunt me sometimes when I look at my old outfits. I really just don't think that they're flattering. I think there's so much more beauty and elevatedness and chicness in a full length top and silhouette. I think crop tops are seen predominantly in fast fashion and more casual fashion brands, which I think is another reason why I find them so unflattering. It's probably due to the reason that crop tops use less material, so they cost less to produce, and therefore they're very cheap and easy for fast fashion and everyday brands to sell. You don't see them as much, I think, with more higher end designers and luxury brands. There is the whole body image part of it too. I think it's hard to feel good in a crop top unless you have a perfectly toned washboard stomach. I certainly don't. So as I was thinking about this, I almost wondered if a lot of my dislike for crop tops was due to the fact of my own body image, but overall, majorly, I think it's more about the overall silhouette. For example, I want to bring up Rory Gilmore from Gilmore Girls, or Kristen Stewart from Twilight, as well as Elena Gilbert from The Vampire Diaries. These are all girls who are, obviously skinny and they probably have flat stomachs, but they all wear full length tops as their characters. That's pretty much their style and their aesthetic. And I think they look damn good like that. Like, could you imagine any of these baddies wearing a crop top? I couldn't. Full length tops are just a lot more timeless and easy to wear, and I think that's what it really comes down to. The last hot take is that all clothes can be fashionable and it's all about confidence. I actually have to disagree with this. I do not think all clothes can be fashionable. I think a lot of clothes can be fashionable, but I think there's a lot of fashion pieces out there that no matter how confident you are, I don't think you would be able to pull them off. I think how I would rephrase this is that most clothes can be fashionable, but it's all about styling and sometimes, honestly, who's wearing it. For example, the whole skirt over pants trend, when it's done in a Y2K-esque kind of way, it doesn't really work. It doesn't look great. It looks a little tacky. But when it's done in a modern, cool, elevated way and more intentionally, I think it actually looks really great. And then for who's wearing it, I mean, if you're Bella Hadid, she is so gorgeous. She can pull off a trash bag. She could pull off a grocery bag. She could pull off wearing a lamp as an outfit. I mean, she's worn some subjectively ugly trends before, such as Ugg boots or Gucci belts or platform sneakers, cowboy boots, bomber jackets, but she makes it look good. And when I dissect it, I think it's really not that she's making them look good. I think it's that she looks good no matter what she wears. And then that results in people thinking, oh, like Uggs are back, bomber jackets are back. These are so cute. But I really think it's just her looking good no matter what she wears. So that is all the fashion hot takes I have for you guys today. Hopefully I didn't offend anyone. Let me know your thoughts, whether you agree or disagree with my opinions. I'm very interested to know what you guys think. And I'll see you again very soon.